Praise the Lord. Welcome you again to our broadcast tonight. It's night time here in Seattle. We're very happy to have you with us, wherever you might be at this time of the day, whether it's night in your place or morning or afternoon. This is New World Deliverance Ministries International coming to you, to your home, to wherever you are or might find yourself at this time. We just want to tell you we love you and we appreciate you for listening to us. And tonight we come to you again with David, the man after God's own heart, or the man according to God's heart. That's how God saw him. Now, we see a lot of characteristics of David that can benefit us. So this is why we want to be good children of God, who know God and worship Him in spirit and in truth. In David's time, that is what he did. He was very interested in God, gave his life to God, worshiped Him, praised Him, did a whole lot of things to glorify God's name. In our time, we have this opportunity to learn about David and copy some of his character and the way he made himself available to God. Tonight we see that David was a man of prayer. David was a man of prayer. Wow. We see him as somebody who was always praying. And we can see later also how our Lord Jesus Christ, when he was on earth, did something like that. But we'll first look at David, how he managed his prayer life. Maybe it might help us also to copy or learn something from that, so that we can know that we need conversation with God. Our prayer is conversation with God. You know, David made sure that he did, or he used his time expediently, making sure he spent time with God. And every time he spent time with God, he acknowledged his need and helplessness and opened his heart and life to God to meet his need. Because as human beings, we always need something from God, you know. And he was a man who nourished his spiritual life with prayer. Wow. So he made sure he found himself in the presence of God, nourishing his spiritual life, having conversation with God, crying to Him, praying to Him, praising Him, lifting Him, adoring Him, doing something that God had no choice but to come closer and nearer to Him. Can we do the same? Yes. That's why we are learning this, so that we can copy some of His characteristics and the way He related to His God. This God is the same God me and you have today. God, the God of yesterday, the God of today, and the God of tomorrow and forever. So as David did, let's see how his prayer life went. We see that mostly in the Psalms, and other people also, prayed like him and so forth. So let's go straight to how David handled his prayer life.
Psalm 5, 1 through 7. Give ear to my words, O Lord. Consider my meditation. Give heed to the voice of my cry, my King and my God. For you I will pray. My voice you shall hear in the morning, O Lord. In the morning I will direct it to you, and I will look up. For you are not a God who takes pleasure in wickedness, nor shall evil dwell with you. The boastful shall not stand in your sight. You hate all workers of iniquity. You shall destroy those who speak falsehood. The Lord abhors the bloodthirsty and deceitful man. But as for me, I will come into your house in the multitude of your mercy. In fear of you, I will worship towards your holy temple.
You see that David is a man who understood that it was only God that can bless him. Because Jesus made us understand in Matthew 6:34, it says, sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. In other words, every day, you never know the kind of evil that might be awaiting you, or the kind of good that might be awaiting you. But in other words, every day has something of its own that is peculiar to that day. So David made sure that he sought his God early in the morning, just before the day came on. He gave his life to God. He asked God to take care of him. He conversed with God. Can you do that also? Yes. So we said, anytime David wanted to pray to God, he prepared his heart, his mind, his body, everything. He didn't just wake up to do, hey God, I've come. Listen to me, answer me. He made sure he remembered who God was, the kind of reverence he needed to approach him. He knew that God was the King of Kings. He approached God respectfully, deep, solemn respect. So we are learning about how we should also do so to help ourselves. Say, give ear to my words, O Lord, and consider my meditation. Wow. Wow. You know, so at times we cannot even say words when we are in some kind of a sighing situation. Maybe things are not going well for us. Maybe we feel, emotional distress or tired or something. So we can find ourselves in some meditation state that might be either we are crying or we are anguished with something. But David starts to say, give ear to my words, O Lord, and consider my meditation. Listen to the sound of my cry, my King and my God. To you I will pray. So David knew who the true eternal King is. And he gladly accepted God's rule in his life. So as he accepted God's rule in his life, what about me and you? Wow. He says, you will hear my voice in the morning, O Lord. In the morning I will direct my prayer to you. And I will look up. In other words, I will wait for you. Wow. David knew that before he went to work, or before he started anything of the day, he understood that every day has burdens of its own. And if you want to do it alone without the help of God, it might be terrible for you in the end. But David knew this secret. So in the morning, he rose up, cried unto God, sought him, laid his petitions before him, supplicated before him, So he did all that to prepare himself for the day. What about me and you? We can do the same. So let's learn how David did. And he understood that God was a God that takes no pleasure in wickedness. And that's why he says, no evil can dwell with you, God. And if you're a foolish guy, David says, you can't stand in the sight of God. If you're an evildoer, you can't stand in the sight of God. Because God will destroy you. So David knew all this and didn't take God for granted at all. He did all that he could. And he said, as for me, I will come into your house by the abundance of your mercy. He understood the mercifulness of God. So he put himself into that state so that every time he remembered himself that, hey, I have this kind of problem, that kind of problem, I have somebody that I can rely on and I can go to. Let's learn of this and take this attitude. It's going to help us. Let's keep going.
Psalm 55, 16 through 18. As for me, I will call upon God, and the Lord shall save me. Evening and morning and at noon, I will pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. He has redeemed my soul in peace from the battle that was against me, for there were many against me.
Again.
As for me, I will call upon God, and the Lord shall save me. Evening and morning and at noon I will pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. He shall redeem my soul in peace from the battle that was against me, for there were many against me.
Wow. Now we see that David's life, was a lot of battles. But by the grace of God, God saved him a lot from his enemies and gave him victory in many of the battles he had to fight. So, for this reason, he made sure that he labored to keep his conscience with God clear and his heart also clean before God. So how did he do that? He did that by being faithful in prayer. And he exercised faith when he prayed. Because you can't see God with your physical eyes, but he allowed his mind's eye to see God, hearing him. And this helped him a lot to stay in faith. So you can learn something like that and let your prayer reach God by using even your mind's eye to picture God right before you or looking at you or, paying attention to you. Wow. So this is how David made himself constantly seeking the face of God because he needed salvation from his enemies. And he needed victory in battles that he had to fight otherwise, because they had so many enemies around them. Wow. Let's keep going.
Psalm 69, 16. Hear me, O Lord, for your loving kindness is good. Turn to me according to the multitude of your tender mercies.
Wow. Again.
Hear me, O Lord, for your loving kindness is good. Turn to me according to the multitude of your tender mercies.
Wow. Go up to 18.
and do not hide your face from your servant, for I am in trouble. Hear me speedily. Draw near to my soul and redeem it. Deliver me because of my enemies.
Wow, 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 wow. Oh, let's add 19 also.
You know my reproach, my shame, and my dishonor.
Oh.
My adversaries are all before you.
Wow. I love this prayer of David because it was like between death and life. Wow. So see how he cried to God? He said, hear me, O Lord, for your loving kindness is good. David was somebody that never blamed God for any of his troubles. He would rather cry to God to see how helpless he was. He would cry to God to see how much he needed him. He will allude to God to remember him. That without him, God, David, is nothing. And he can do nothing also. Wow. What a God we serve. It's incredible. Wow. So, David says, hear me, O Lord, for your loving kindness is good. Turn to me in accordance with the abundance of your tender mercies. David always referred to God's mercies when he was praying. He always did that. Why? Because his life was like in the hands of God. So if he can't talk to God, who else can he talk to? Because God was all he had. It was God that had made him who he became, the king of Israel. Wow. So, prayer, life of David is something that we want to understand his approach to God and the kind of words that he used to address God. So this is why we are learning this, so that we can learn from how David did and either copy or use it to reflect our own lives, how we have to approach God and the kind of words we have to reason out with God. God, David's situation is not same like us as of today, but in this time, he made sure that he measured even his words towards God. And he said appropriately what he had to do or what he had to seek from God. So let's learn these approaches so that it can help us. Let's keep going.
Psalm 109:4. In return for my love, they are my accusers, but I give myself to prayer.
Again.
In return for my love, they are my accusers, but I give myself to prayer.
How to fight you?
Thus they have rewarded me evil for good, and hatred for my love.
Ouch. In return for my love, they are my accusers. But I give myself to prayer. David remembered that no matter what he did, somebody has something to say against him. No matter how much he loved people, one of them will turn against him. They will accuse him of lying stuff. They will accuse him of whatever they imagined. That because David knew that the weight of what they were accusing him of, if he were to reply or argue with them, it will land nowhere. So you see his secret, he went to God. Wow. He said, but I give myself to prayer. Wow. Can you do the same? He said, return for my love. They are my accusers. You loved them. You gave them love. You did them good. But inside them, it's not the same. They hated him for nothing. Wow. He said, they have repaid me evil for good and hatred for my love. Do we have people like that today? Yes. But what did David do? His secret was that he went to prayer. He went to seek God. He went to lay all these burdens that were beyond him. He put them at the feet of Jesus. Wow. What about you? Do you go back against your enemies? Do you ever pray when somebody does you evil? Do you ever consider that God is there and can avenge you better? David understood all this. So every charge of evil they gave him, they slandered him, they hated him, he showed them love, but they responded with deadly malice. Wow. But David chose to live a righteous life. They poured a lot of lies about him. But what did he do? Wow. It's just like the Lord Jesus when he was on earth. They poured and slandered him, lies upon lies. Wow. So, for David, he made sure that upon all that, he went to God and cried his way out to him. Did God hear him? Yes. Because he and God, he made sure that he had a conversation with him, and the line with him, he never let it close by neglecting to pray. How about you? You do that every day? David rose up early in the morning to do all this. So it's very important to commit your day in the morning to God before you start anything. So if you haven't been doing, start to learn how you can do that. Early in the morning, when you get up, stop being lazy or, searching for other things to do. Go to God, converse with him, thank him, worship him, exalt him, and let him take over your life and see you through the day for your own good. Wow. Let's see other examples. Let's keep going.
Psalm 92, 1-2. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord, and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning, and thy faithfulness every night.
Okay.
Psalm 92, 1-2. It's a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord, and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning, and thy faithfulness every night.
See how David started his day? So it is a good thing to give thanks to the Lord and sing praises unto his name. That's what he did. I will enter his gates with thanksgiving in my heart. I will enter his courts with praise. I will say, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice, for he has made me glad. David remembered this, and he always went to God first with a thanksgiving for being able to even wake up again to see another day before he poured out his heart heart and everything else for God to take control of him for the day. But see, he said, when I wake up and I give thanks, I declare God's loving kindness in the morning. Wow. And God's faithfulness to see him through the night that he slept. And what did he do? He made sure he used, because he could play the harp, the lyre, and, he made sounds or he sung. He did things from the depths of his heart to recognize that he has a God. What about me and you? Wow. It's always important to have a right view of the God that we have. If you are worshiping him, if you are giving him thanks, remember that his dealings with mankind is a little different because he's spirit. So we got to cultivate the right attitude and have the right view of God in order to come to him in submission and in complete trust, like David always did. Wow. So don't come to God, with a somber face and heart and emotions and whatnot. Just come to him with a right view of who God is and have an attitude, a right attitude, in order to talk to him, to converse with him in prayer. And make sure that, like God said, he who comes to him must believe that he is what? He is God. And not only that, but he rewards those who earnestly seek him. That's what David did. You can do the same. It's going to help your life. Let's keep going.
Psalm 119, 147 to 148. I prevented the dawning of the morning and cried, I hoped in thy word. Mine eyes prevent the night watches, that I might meditate in thy word.
Wow. You see what David is saying? See, I rise before dawn in the morning and cry out. And I hope in your word. Whoa. You see, David is a very spiritual man because he has God as his A to Z. Wow. Are you a child of God? Can you be like David, being very spiritual like that? You can. Because this is why we are studying about his character. We can cultivate some of these things that we have heard so that we can relate to God better. This is our objective of studying this, of studying about David. We want to relate to God in a far better way as we have a better opportunity even than David's time. So let's, as we learn about David, how he even prayed to God. He said, I rise before dawn. I rise before dawn in the morning to cry out to God. So we should all attempt to maintain or establish and maintain a time for prayer and meditation early in the morning, like we're hearing David doing. But it will need a discipline on your behalf to be able to learn to do something like that. You got to discipline yourself real good to be able to function like David did. Wow. So he made prayer something special in his life. What about me and you? Let's keep going.
Isaiah 26, 9. With my soul have I desired thee in the night. Yeah, with my spirit within me will I seek thee early. For when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness.
Again.
Isaiah 26:9. With my soul have I desired thee in the night. Yea, with my spirit within me will I seek thee early. For when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness.
Whoa. See, David cultivated this habit of reaching God early in the morning. You see along? Now, many years after that, we see Isaiah doing the same thing. Wow. But Isaiah even goes further. He said, look, with my soul have I desired you all night. In other words, he made God part of his soul, part of his mind, part of his body, part of his spirit. He made his spirit yearn after God. Say, all night I desired you. Hunger, desire will make you focus on God. Isaiah is telling us he desired God. Even in the night, he desired him. Because who else does he have? It's only God that he has. And he said, I will seek you early. So this might be a very good clue for us. So those of us who feel lazy, when we wake up, we don't care about God, we just go about our business, whatever we want to do. But if you are a guy who wants to have a true relationship with God, a joyful one, I think we should learn about what David and even Isaiah also completed. It's going to help us a lot. Let's keep going.
Daniel 6:10-13. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber towards Jerusalem, he knelt upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as he did aforetime. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save of thee, O God, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altered not. Then answered they and said before the king that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regards not thee, O God, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but makes his petition 3 times a day.
Wow. I love the courage of Daniel. In the face of danger. It's just an example that we should all copy. Wow. He said, now, the king has made a decree. If you pray to some other god, your head has to go. Now, what happened to Daniel? He took the courage to still go after his habit of seeking and praying to his God. And he did it in such a way that, other people could even see him. Because he knew that some other people have been watching him pray not to the God that Nebuchadnezzar had made, but he was praying to a different God. Wow. And because he was, being jealous by most of the people around the king, because he was far wiser than most of them. He was able to interpret dreams. He was able to do things in a far better way than them. So of course he has a lot of enemies. When you excel with God, you're going to have so many enemies around you. And that's what happened to Daniel. But in spite of his enemies, in spite of the decree, in spite of everything, the danger he could face if he didn't worship the Nebuchadnezzar's God, what did he do? He continued to seek his God. He said he prayed, he knelt and prayed 3 times a day. He prayed and gave thanks in the presence of his God, and he did it continually. Wow, what a courage. Yeah, let's keep going.
Mark chapter 1, verse 35. Now in the morning, having risen a long while before daylight, he went out and departed to a solitary place, and there he prayed.
Again.
Mark chapter 1, verse 35. Now in the morning, having risen a long while before daylight, he went out and departed to a solitary place, and there he prayed.
Wow. Even Jesus is showing us that the best way to relate to God, give yourself to him so that he can take care of your day for you, is early morning prayer. Wow. Like we learned from David, we see that the Lord Jesus on earth doing the same. He said in the morning, a great while before daylight, at the dawn. Wow. Of the day, he got up, went outside, found some solitary place, and he prayed. Wow. But all that Jesus, even though he was God, he was doing this so that it can be written for us to copy. And learn how to do the same. See? So everything that Jesus did was an example for us to copy. Because God loves that we commit our day to him. Because every day has its own burdens. Every day has its own troubles. Every day has something that is peculiar to it. And this is why, if you are a true child of God, you need God in your life. So learn to commit your day to him. Learn David's prayer life. Learn Daniel's prayer life. Even Isaiah and many men of God in the past, they made sure they used their early morning, the moment they woke up, thanking God, praising him, adoring him, conversing with him, before any other thing else. So let's learn. This is where we stay. This is why we learn, so that we can practice them in our own lives. So don't just hear, put into practice what you are hearing. Oh, we're doing all this so that it will benefit us in our relationship with God. Let's keep going.
Matthew Matthew chapter 14, verse 23. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. Now when evening came, he was alone there.
Wow. Again?
Matthew chapter 14, verse 23. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. Now when evening came, he was alone there.
Wow. See? Jesus loved to show us that this is what he expects his children to do. And that's why he set this example for us. He wants us to understand that we should pray without ceasing. Why? Because you have enemies. And these enemies your eyes cannot even see. See? Your eyes even cannot see them. Wow. So even Jesus learned a different thing. Just like David, Isaiah, Jeremiah, and all who have come before us learned to do. They made sure that they woke up early, saw the face of God, praised Him, adored Him, gave their life to Him before continuing their day. What about me and you? Let's keep going.
Matthew chapter 26, verse 36. And Jesus came with them to a place called Gethsemane, and said to his disciples, "Sit here while I go and pray over there."
Again?
Matthew chapter 26, verse 36. Then Jesus came with them to a place called
Gethsemane.
Thank you, sorry. And said to his disciples, "Sit here while I go and pray over there."
Gethsemane is, in those days, was a garden, short of a short distance to the walls of Jerusalem, at the foot of Mount of Olives. So he said, "Hey, my guys, you know what? You stay here for a little bit. I gotta go." All that Jesus was doing was to show them that one day he wouldn't be with them, and they would need the comfort and the security of the presence he had with them. See? So he was showing them how they should get interested in finding a place to converse with him, God. Wow. So when Jesus came to them, to Gethsemane, what did he do to the disciples? Say, "You sit here while I go over there to pray." And when he came back, what were the disciples doing? They were sleepy. They couldn't hold up any prayer. Wow. Anyway, let's keep going.
Matthew chapter 19, verse 13. Then little children were brought to him that he might put his hands on them and pray. But the disciples rebuked them.
Wow. In other words, Jesus had a prayer life. He wants his children to have a prayer life. And look at what even happened. He said, little children were brought to him so that he would put his hands on them and pray. Why? Did even little children decide to have Jesus pray for them? Because prayer is something that our lives need. Because you want to commit yourself to God, to have total control in your life. And if you don't have God, what else you got? Wow. So let's learn. Let's learn that a prayer life can be cultivated. And probably with time, we can do like David and Jesus are doing. Specializing in early mornings to pray and commit your day to the Lord. It's going to help you a lot. Let's keep going.
Luke chapter 3, verse 21. When all the people were baptized, it came to pass that Jesus also was baptized. And while he prayed, the heaven was opened.
Wow. Even in baptism, Jesus prayed. Whoa, 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 whoa. In other words, it is so important for us that in every aspect of our lives, wherever we may find ourselves, whatever we might be doing, at the back of our minds, let's remember that we need God like nothing else. Wow. Because He is everything that is necessary or that is needful for our lives. Without a discourse with God in our lives, how do you think we can function for real? You want to be the guy who you wake up, the whole world is in your hands. You do as you please, you think as you please, because you have no God. Yet if during the day something happens to you, where do you go? But if you learn to commit your life to God early in the morning and any time, you will have God sending you His angels to keep you safe for His holy name and glory's sake. Wow. Prayer life of David. Let's keep going.
Luke 5:16. So he himself often withdrew into the wilderness and prayed.
He did what?
He himself often withdrew into the wilderness and prayed.
How come Jesus did all that? Wow. See, before then, start from there.
Luke 5:13 through 16. Then he put out his hand and touched him, saying, I am willing, be cleansed. Immediately the leprosy left him. And he charged him to tell no one, but go and show yourself to the priest and make an offering for your cleansing as a testimony to them, just as Moses commanded. However, the report went around concerning him all the more, and great multitudes came together to hear and to be healed by him of their infirmities. So he himself often withdrew into the wilderness and prayed.
Wow. It is for mostly ministers of God. If you want God to have Himself with you and in you, understand that you can't do the works of God with emptiness. You really have to have a genuine relationship with God. And this relationship you can develop only through prayer life. Your prayer life should function like Jesus is showing us here. He said He withdrew Himself to the wilderness and prayed quite often. can develop this, even though you might not live near a mountain where you can go. You can be in your own house. But you should cultivate your spirit, your soul, your mind, your body to relate to God in such a way that you can be in a prayer mood most of the time, that people would not know that you're even praying. So say Jesus often, because of the kind of miracles and the godly works that he made people enjoy, he would treat himself to go and pray. It's like you have a car, you put gas in it. When you travel, what happens? Does the gas stay forever? No, it finishes. What do? When your gas finishes, you replenish it. You buy a new one. So, the people of God, we need new gas every time. So we got to withdraw sometimes. Just like the car travels, it needs more petrol or gas to put you in to continue going. This is what Jesus was teaching us. If you want to see the works of God in your life, develop a good prayer life so that it will be well with you. Let's keep going.
Luke 6:12. Now it came to pass in those days that he went out to the mountain to pray and continued all night in prayer to God.
Okay.
Now it came to pass in those days that he went out to the mountain to pray and continued all night in prayer to God.
He continued all night in prayer to God. Oh my goodness. It's like we are here, we have an all night right now. We are going to close very late or very early in the morning somewhere. So, just like we are doing here, that's what Jesus did. One of the things he did. Say, it happened in those days that he went out on the mountain to what? Pray. And continued all night in prayer to God. So, David's prayer life is what we are seeing in Jesus also. Because you can't have God without a true prayer life. We need God in order to sustain the spiritualness of or the spiritual part of our lives. We need to pray. So let's learn to have a sweet prayer life so that God's presence can always be with us and not fail us, because we need it. So this is to every child of God. Develop a true prayer life so that it shall be well with you. Let's keep going.
Luke 9:28. Now it came to pass Luke 9:28. Now it came to pass about 8 days after these things that he took Peter, John, and James and went up on the mountain to pray.
Wow. See, this is where he showed them who he really was. Oh my goodness. Continue to the 31.
Luke 9:29-31. As he prayed, the appearance of his face was altered, and his robe became white and glistening. And behold, 2 men talked with him, who were Moses and Elijah, who appeared in the glory and spoke of his decease, which he was about to accomplish at Jerusalem.
Wow. See? Read again tonight again.
And he prayed, and the appearance of his face was altered, and his robe became white and glistening.
It's like when Moses came down from the mountain, having an encounter with God. When he came, they couldn't even see his face because he was too radiant. Wow. And we see Jesus here, another example. So your prayer life can bring you God's radiance. Do you want that? Yes. Your prayer life can change even how people see your face. If you have developed it good enough, you will see God's radiance always shining on you. So let's learn and take our prayer lives serious, because it will bring changes to your spirit, your soul, your mind, your body even. It will do you good in the end. Wow, let's keep going.
Mark 6:46. And when he had sent them away, he departed to the mountain to pray.
We see Jesus always going somewhere. To do what? To pray. We don't find him going somewhere to party or to converse with or gossip or do something else. He always went somewhere to do what? To pray. So get interested in meeting up with God. Have a prayer life and have God probably at the finger of your tips, if I can put it that way. Wow, be interested in praying, because all that we are hearing today is about prayer, from David to Isaiah to Jeremiah to Daniel and all. And Jesus is showing us also how much he spent time in prayer. Wow. Let's keep going.
John 11:41-42. Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead man was lying. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me, and I know that you always hear me. But because of the people who are standing by, I said this, that they may believe that you sent me.
Wow. See? So because we have seen Jesus' prayer life, he doesn't even have to do any hard something for God to come on the scene. We can put it that way. Even though he was God in flesh. But because, like he's saying, for the sake of the people who are around, that they will see that he, Jesus, has God's power and everything in him. So, because his prayer life that he had developed and he was showing the disciples how to get closer to God, when it came to a miracle like this, raising the dead, see, he just thanked God, saying that, I know you always hear me, because why? He has cultivated that rapport between him and God. He wants us to cultivate same so that we can always have the power of God just reigning in our lives. In case we meet something like this, because you are already full of God's presence, it wouldn't be a hard thing for you to crave God's presence. Your prayer life will determine how God will reach out to you to do what he has to do and not put you to shame. So let's learn that. It's going to help us a lot. Let's keep going.
Luke 22:32. But I prayed for you that your faith should not fail, and when You have returned to me. Strengthen your brethren.
Okay.
Luke 22:32. But I have prayed for you, that your faith should not fail. And when you have returned to me, strengthen your brethren.
Wow. Now, what happened that Jesus said he has prayed for who? Let's go to 31.
Luke 22:31. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, indeed Satan has asked for you, that he may sift you as wheat.
Whoa. Did Peter or Simon ever imagined that Satan desired to do something like that to him? So Satan had desired to sift you like wheat. Wow. Because the conversation before this, Jesus was saying how he had to go to Jerusalem to go suffer and be crucified and so forth. And Peter, thinking he was just saying an ordinary thing, said, let it never happen to you. But did Peter know that Satan was using his mouth? No. But Jesus was knew. Because he's God, he saw it. And he said, look, Peter, Satan, this is his heart's desire to sift you, to make you useless, to just throw you somewhere outside of God's space so that he can destroy you. And this is what Satan does to people. He's always sifting people, making sure that your prayer life is weak. You don't have interest in godly stuff. It distracts you a lot. Before you realize there's no power or presence of God in you. Wow. But see what Jesus said? He said, look, because I can see better than you, or farther than you, because I know spiritual things more than you, I pray for you that your faith in God will not fail. But he has also told him that, look, the time will come you deny me 3 times. Peter said, far it be for me. But did it happen? Yes. But I say, okay, I pray for you that your faith will not fail. But when the time comes, you will see what you have because you are with me. And you can strengthen your brethren also to continue in faith. So Satan is always looking to sift us like wheat, especially if you desire more of God. If you want to be closer to God, Satan will always want you for himself. Wow. So understand that you need a real good prayer life so that you can sustain yourself with God and in God for things to move good for you. Let's keep going.
Hebrews 5:7. Who in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up prayers and supplications with vehement cries and tears to him, who was able to save him from death, and was heard because of his godly fear.
Again.
Hebrews 5:7. Who in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up prayers and supplications with vehement cries and tears to him who was able to save him from death, and was heard because of his godly fear.
Wow. You see that? God Jesus. And it was showing us how we should reach out to God. But even him, who didn't need to pray to anybody, but he had to submit himself to go through that, how we can pray and request things from God. He said he did it with strong crying and tears to God. Remember when it was time to go to the cross? He prayed one time with even blood coming. He said, Father, if it's possible, let this bypass me. Yet, not my will, but who? Your will be done. So he passed through all this. He did all this just for me and you, so we can cultivate a real, true relationship with God. So right now that he's not here in the flesh anymore, we can do the same. But the prayers and the requests, you say with strong crying and with tears. It's a prayer of sincerity. When you have love for God and you are crying to him about something, it flows naturally. Tears and other things will flow naturally. Because you are praying to a God who loves you and you are loving him back. Wow. So, we are seeing a picture of how Jesus did it when he was on earth. And he's no more here. How about me and you? Can we learn to subject ourselves, our flesh, mind, and body, subject it, and let it have a pure relationship with God, developing into true love, that even as you cry, your emotional aspects just pour out like water. Wow. So, this is so far what we'll come to about David and his prayer life, coming down to people after him, David. And we see even the Lord Jesus Christ doing the same. So David was a man of prayer because he wanted always to have a relationship with God. And God is a spirit. How are you going to have a relationship with him? It takes a prayer life. So learn this prayer life that David had, Jesus had, Isaiah had, Daniel had, and now you too can have. So have it so that it can do you well. So this is where I'll put you tonight. God richly bless you. And by his mercies, we'll see you in a few days.